Reddit was always my favorite way to unwind at night. While most people relaxed with shows or music, I preferred diving into creepy subreddits, urban legends, ghost stories, strange rituals. I never actually believed any of it. But I loved the tension, the eerie atmosphere, the thrill of reading something that almost felt real, even when I knew it wasn't. Then one night, something caught my eye. Serious. Don't perform these rituals if you want to stay alive. It sounded dramatic, probably just another over-the-top creepypasta, but the title was too tempting. I clicked in, and to my surprise, the post wasn't written like the usual stuff people post for fun. It felt serious. It laid out 5 oddly specific steps for a summoning ritual. 1 that supposedly brought something to life. 1, find an old doll in your house. 2, cut open its stomach and replace the stuffing with uncooked rice. 3, name it with your real name. 4, hide it where no one can find it. 5, never let it find you. The comments were wild, some warning people not to try it, others claiming they'd gotten as far as step 2 or 3 before strange things started happening. One even posted a blurry photo of a doll with rice stuck to its face, saying they'd completed step 4. It was absurd, and that only made it more entertaining. If they could try it, why not me? Worst case, nothing happened and I got a story out of it. Best case, I'd go viral. So I set up my camera and hit record. I began with step 1. In the back of my storage closet, buried beneath old comic books and boxes of tangled cords, I found a doll. It was worn and discolored with age, its fabric face faded and frayed at the edges, and one of its button eyes hanging by a loose thread. I slit open its stomach and pulled out the matted cotton inside, replacing it with handfuls of uncooked rice. A little messy, a little weird, but nothing remotely scary. I posted a short clip of it, and just as I'd hoped, the responses started pouring in. Some warned me to stop, saying I didn't know what I was messing with. Others egged me on, excited to see how far I would go. The attention was addictive. I smiled, typed a reply, and moved on to step 3. I named it Tom, just like my own name. That night, I laughed at myself as I tucked the doll into a drawer and climbed into bed. It was just a silly Reddit challenge, nothing more. But the next morning, something felt off. My room was a mess. Books were pushed off shelves. My sock drawer had been emptied. At first, I assumed I had sleepwalked. But then I saw the grains of rice, scattered under my bed and trailing into the hallway. I didn't cook rice, not last night. I checked the footage from my camera, but entire segments were missing. Others were filled with static and faint scratching noises, as if something had brushed against the microphone again and again at exactly 3:06 a.m. Still, I told myself it was just coincidence. Curiosity, of course, got the better of me. I dug a shallow hole in the backyard, placed the doll inside, and covered it with dirt and leaves. Then I posted an update, mocking the ritual and everyone who claimed it was real. That evening, I was halfway through dinner when I heard a knock, gentle, steady, and patient. I opened the door and found nothing but the empty porch and quiet night. But when I turned back toward the living room, my stomach dropped. The doll was inside. It was sitting on the floor in a pile of spilled rice, as though it had been eating. Its hands were half buried in the grains, its head tilted downward. But as I stepped closer, it began to lift its face. And then, very slowly, it smiled. Not the kind of smile a doll should have. Its mouth stretched too wide, the fabric pulling tight, seams straining like something beneath was trying to break free. My breath caught, my chest tightened. I ran. The words from the post flashed in my mind like a siren. Never let it find you. I slid under the bed, the wooden floor cold against my back as I squeezed into the tight space. Dust clung to my shirt. I lay flat, chest rising in shallow, panicked breaths, willing myself to vanish. From beneath the bed, I could see its feet moving, slow, deliberate steps crossing the room. Then came the soft scrape of something dragging across the floorboards. I stayed frozen, counting seconds in my head, listening for any sound that might mean it was still there. But the silence held. Nothing moved. Maybe it was gone. Slowly, carefully, I slid out from under the bed, my palms bracing against the floor as I pulled myself free. I stood up, wiping the dust from my hands, heart still racing but starting to believe I was safe. The room was quiet, but then I felt it, that creeping sensation crawling up my spine, the instinct that something was behind me. I turned, and there it was, standing on the mattress, just behind me. Its head tilted, arms limp, that crooked smile stretching across its stitched face. Before I could scream, it whispered in my voice, "I found you." That's when my scream tore free. I ran again, slamming into doors that should have opened, pulling at locked handles that had never been locked before. The doll didn't chase me like a monster in a movie. It followed slowly, methodically, dragging each foot with intent, as if it knew I had nowhere left to run. I hid inside the closet, curling into myself and pressing both hands over my mouth to quiet my breathing. I heard it move past the door, then silence returned. I thought I was safe, until something soft landed on my head. A single grain of rice, and then another. I looked up. The doll was crouched above me, head peeking through the small opening, its grin now even wider, impossibly distorted. Before I could move, it reached down and grabbed my collar, dragging me out effortlessly. It pinned me down and, with unnatural strength, shoved rice into my mouth, fistful after fistful until I couldn't breathe, scream, or swallow. It leaned close, its mouth pressed against my ear, and it whispered something in a language I didn't recognize, something that felt old and wrong and final. Darkness took me, and in that final moment I understood. Some things aren't.
I was miles away from home on a prolonged business trip when unexpected complications trapped me in a remote suburban area for 2 additional nights. Exhausted and desperate, I found myself scrolling urgently through Airbnb listings late into the night. The screen blinked discouragingly at me, every place fully booked except for one single room. The reviews glowed promisingly, rows upon rows of enthusiastic 5-star ratings. Yet, nestled amongst them was a solitary, troubling 1-star review with an ominous warning. Terrible place, reeks of death. My finger hesitated over the book now button for a brief moment, doubt lingering, but fatigue overcame my instincts, and I clicked confirm. When I arrived at the Airbnb, the host greeted me with an oddly enthusiastic and friendly smile. From the outside, the room appeared tidy, and I eagerly anticipated a restful sleep after an exhausting day. But contrary to my expectations, the moment the door opened, An overpowering scent of cheap air freshener assaulted my senses, desperately trying to mask an underlying stench of decay quietly lurking beneath. My gaze fell upon the pillowcase, stained with faded brownish blotches that suggested improper cleaning. The window bore a thin, neglected film of dust, making the room seem even more suffocating. I asked the host to clean the room thoroughly, but she reminded me that I'd checked in urgently during the night, and now it was far too late to clean immediately, promising she'd take care of it in the morning. I sighed softly, reassuring myself, it's just one night. I can endure it. Sleep overtook me swiftly, but in the silent dead of night, I jolted awake, feeling sharp pricks crawling beneath my skin, itchy and relentless. Turning on the bedside lamp, I stared in confusion at tiny, crimson spots scattered across my wrists and ankles, some oozing faint drops of blood. Must be a dust allergy, I murmured groggily, too exhausted to consider otherwise. Pulling the covers tight around myself, I forced my mind into unconsciousness once more. Morning brought no relief, quite the opposite. My scalp burned intensely with an itching sensation unlike anything I had ever experienced. Reaching up, my fingers were soon entangled in loose clumps of hair, sticky with some unknown secretion. Even more disturbing, a throbbing pain behind my shoulder prompted me to twist around, discovering a swollen, inflamed lump just beneath my skin, tender and hot to the touch. Perhaps my body was reacting to the room's questionable cleanliness. Surely my scalp was itching from resting on that stained, grimy pillow. Deeply unsettled, I contacted the host immediately, insisting she clean the room thoroughly while I was out working. Returning in the evening, the space showed superficial signs of tidying, yet a nagging sense of unease lingered stubbornly within me. Driven by suspicion, I lifted the mattress, recoiling at fresh, sinister stains beneath. Frustrated, I immediately started looking for a safer place to spend this final night. Tomorrow was an extremely important meeting, and I couldn't afford to lose any more sleep. While scrolling feverishly, my eyes landed on a TikTok video review eerily featuring the exact Airbnb room I occupied. A surge of dread compelled me to message the reviewer immediately. "Were you also in room 203? The reply came swiftly and bluntly. "Yes, and I'm the one who left that 1-star review." Before I could type another question, their account abruptly vanished, deleted without warning, as though forcibly silenced. Although I still had some doubts lingering inside, it didn't matter much since I'd fortunately managed to book another room. Yet just as I finished packing my luggage and prepared to leave, the sky suddenly opened up in a torrential downpour. Trapped again, frustration turned to resignation. Determined to protect myself, I laid clean towels atop the mattress, dressed head to toe in protective clothing, and liberally sprayed disinfecting essential oils around the room. No matter how careful I was, I couldn't sleep. I kept tossing and turning. Near midnight, a sharp, unbearable itching beneath my skin forced me upright, gasping for breath. Panicked, I staggered to the bathroom, flipping on harsh lights, my heart racing. I stared in horror at a pale lump bulging under the skin of my neck, faintly writhing just beneath the surface. Shuddering violently, I tentatively touched the lump. Instantly, black, viscous fluid erupted, spraying into the sink, followed horrifyingly by a slippery, writhing appendage that squirmed grotesquely. I screamed, my entire body turning ice cold. Frantically, I called for an ambulance. Weakening rapidly, I stumbled back to pack my things, but paralysis crept slowly and insidiously through my limbs. Barely managing to reach the hallway, my body gave way, collapsing to the ground in painful convulsions. Blue veins began to bulge across my palms, thick and swollen, crawling outward like twisted branches beneath the surface of my skin. They pulsed in an unnatural rhythm, dark and menacing. Suddenly, my neck split open with a sharp, searing pain. A slick, slug-like creature slid out briefly, then pulled back in, leaving thick black blood trailing down my chest. Another wave of nausea hit me, and I threw up again. This time, a half-formed parasite came out, still alive, twitching weakly on the floor. Before darkness claimed me, I saw the hallway's security camera pivot, slowly toward my prone, convulsing form, watched coldly from behind a screen by the host herself. Later, waking in the sterile whiteness of a hospital room, I struggled to comprehend my circumstances. With a solemn face, the doctor explained I'd been infected by a rare parasite because of filthy bedding and poorly maintained plumbing. It was my worst nightmare coming true. Right after the doctor left, the host appeared with a smile, holding out a thick wad of cash.
The previous guest had an accident. After handing things over to the police, I still have to keep my business running to survive. I hope you understand. Please give me a 5-star review, and let's not make a big deal out of this.
I couldn't believe what I had just heard. So that was it. She was using money to cover everything up. What was I supposed to do with a woman this shameless? I never believed in lasting love. At least, not for me. I believed in momentum, in sparks that ignited fast and burned out just as quickly. Apps like Tinder, they weren't for finding a soulmate. They were playgrounds for pleasure, fleeting and fun. A swipe here, a drink there, a night of passion. No promises, no disappointments. That night I wasn't even looking. I was bored, curious, restless. Then came Mark. He wasn't just attractive, he was curated. Tousled hair, well-cut jawline, eyes that looked like they saw through filters. His bio was maddeningly simple. I cook well. I never rush a meal. And yet it hit something. It felt mature, confident, real. We matched instantly, his first message.
Dinner tonight?
I replied, where and when? By 9:43 p.m, I was on my way to his house outside the city. Mark's place was more than a house. It was a villa, hidden behind high hedges, sleek, modern, and warm with soft lighting. When I stepped inside, the smell of rosemary and smoked meat embraced me. He greeted me in a crisp shirt, sleeves rolled.
Welcome. I hope you're hungry.
A long table waited, adorned with wine, candles, and a small tray of homemade pâté. You made this? I thought he was being dramatic, artsy, maybe a little eccentric. He explained how the pâté was made, from how the liver must be handled to the chilling process. I laughed. He was intense, passionate, but charming. We drank red wine, talked, flirted. After the dinner, Mark showed me his kitchen, meticulously arranged, all top-tier chef equipment, each blade gleaming. Mark was obsessed with knives, artisan blades, carbon steel, perfectly honed. He showed me a custom paring knife from Japan, then whispered like a secret. He said, half joking, "You sound like Gordon Ramsay on a date."
More like Hannibal with manners.
I didn't catch the red flag. I was too busy drinking melting under his gaze. The heat between us grew. Touches lingered. His hands slid along my waist, then lips met lips, and we lost ourselves in the moment. As he trailed kisses along my neck, he whispered, almost breathless,
I'm still hungry, and you look delicious. Do you want to be my dinner tonight?
I giggled, aroused. Of course. I thought it was a kink, a game. Maybe he wanted to carry me to the kitchen table. Maybe he had whipped cream hidden somewhere. His lips pressed more firmly, but something shifted. His grip tightened, not seductive, but possessive. His breath grew shallow. Then I felt it, the unmistakable chill of cold metal, a sharp prick at the base of my skull. I tensed. Not playful, not sexy. He said flatly.
I mean it.
It took me a second to process, then two. His eyes were no longer warm. They were vacant, detached. Mark, what are you doing? His smile remained, but it no longer belonged to a man flirting. Before I could scream, he moved, swift, precise. Something jabbed of my neck, a sudden jolt like a taser. The pain wasn't deep, but it sent a paralyzing shockwave through my spine. My muscles seized, my vision blurred. I collapsed, limbs flailing uselessly, thoughts scattering like marbles across a floor I could no longer feel. Then darkness. I woke up strapped to a table in the center of the sleek, high-end kitchen. My body was numb, my arms and legs splayed and tied down with thick rope that scraped against my skin. The room wasn't cold like a morgue. It was warm, humid, and filled with a nauseating blend of aromas. Bleach, charred meat, fresh herbs, and something unmistakably metallic. To my left, a prep station gleamed with precision tools. Mandolins, mincers, boning knives. On the kitchen island sat a bowl of something marinating. Was it beef? Pork? My stomach twisted. I tried to scream, but my throat was sandpaper dry. My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. My limbs were bound tightly, thick leather straps cut into my skin, keeping me spread and helpless. Footsteps. Then Mark entered, donning a blood-smeared apron like a chef ready for his shift. There was a shimmer in his eyes. Not joy, not madness, but something twisted in between.
You're awake. Good. The first time should be memorable.
What the hell is this? I rasped, terror making my voice crack.
I always wondered what it would be like.
He said, almost dreamy.
After watching Hannibal, it just clicked. You're perfect. Fresh. Clean. Beautiful.
He approached with a paring knife, its edge honed to perfection.
Blood type A, right? They say it's the most flavorful.
He pressed the blade to my neck. A stinging slice. I screamed. He caught the blood, tasted it, then gagged, violently, his face contorted in horror. He stumbled to the sink and vomited, retching like a poisoned man. The knife clattered to the table. He was too busy heaving to notice that my eyes had locked onto the knife on the floor. My wrist twisted painfully toward it. Awkward, strained, the cold steel kissed the edge of the rope binding my wrist. I began to saw. Once. Twice. The blade bit into the coarse fiber and grazed my skin. Pain flared hot and raw, but I didn't stop. Mark groaned again, spitting bile into the sink, muttering something about preparation and balance of flavor. The rope snapped with a frayed gasp. I yanked my wrist free, the skin beneath it raw and bleeding, my pulse pounding in my ears like war drums. I moved quickly to my ankles. The knots were tight, stubborn, soaked with my own sweat. My fingers slipped once, twice, but I didn't stop. I clawed and sawed and twisted until at last, the final rope loosened and I kicked free. He turned.
No, not yet.
I snatched the knife, stumbled to my feet and lunged, not at him, but at the sleek wall oven beside me. The blade drove deep. Glass shattered. Gas hissed like a snake let loose. Flames erupted in an instant, racing across the countertop. He screamed, not for me, but for the oven.
No! That's a $6,000 Viking!
I toppled a prep table into his path, the clang loud as a gunshot, then sprinted into the smoke-choked hallway without looking back. I grabbed my phone from a table near the entryway. 1% battery. 911, please help. But Mark's voice echoed from behind.
You can't leave. You're not done yet.
I bolted for the front door, flung it open, only to find the outer gate locked. No keypad, no handle. I darted into the bushes, phone in hand. I crouched, heart in my mouth. Tinder notifications pinged in quick succession.
You can't escape me. I told you, this is my first time.
I muted my phone, uninstalled the app, but another message arrived through Premium Override.
I fixed the oven. Sorry for being clumsy. Let's finish what we started. The first time is always messy.
A sound, footsteps, buzz of electricity, then a voice inches from the brush.
And honey, I brought a cleaner blade this time.
Ballerina cappuccina.
Tung 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 sahur. Tralalero tralala.
Ballerina cappuccina.
It was one of those days where the air itself felt heavy. Deadlines, coffee jitters, and that migraine that never really goes away. I was exhausted, mentally fried, when I looked up from my screen and nearly screamed. Sam, my co-worker, was standing there smiling. Or something that used to be Sam. Usually pristine and polished, today she looked like a puppet half alive. Her face was pale and waxy. Her eyes were swallowed in deep, dark rings, and her forehead swollen, as if something inside was pressing outward.
Hello, tralalero, tralala.
She chirped in a sing-song voice that didn't belong to her. I blinked, startled. What? She giggled, her expression twitching between joy and emptiness.
Oh, you're such a fossil. Haven't you seen the brain rot universe? It's trending on TikTok.
What's it about? I asked. She tilted his head.
It's just brain rot. It doesn't mean anything. That's why it's perfect.
And then she laughed, loud and broken, before walking away. I wish I could say that was the end of it. But it was only the beginning. The next day, more co-workers had the look. Sunken eyes, pale skin, puffy heads like overripe fruit. They wandered the office, muttering absurd phrases.
It's tung 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 sahur time.
Do you want to try ballerina cappuccina?
And every time they laughed together. Giggles like wind chimes in a hurricane. I didn't understand what was happening. I stopped getting Slack messages, emails, eye contact. No one spoke to me unless I repeated their nonsense. It was like they spoke a new language, and I was suddenly illiterate. Outside the office, it was worse. Random people on the street babbled the same phrases. Whole cafes filled with chuckling strangers, nodding at videos in silence. I felt like a relic, forgotten by time. And still, no one could tell me what brain rot actually was. I found out the hard way. On my way home from the supermarket, I saw a man standing under a flickering street lamp. He was laughing hysterically, phone in hand, eyes bloodshot. The air around him felt wrong. Then the screen of his phone glitched, and something crawled out. A creature, half smoke, half flesh, launched at his face. He screamed, tried to pull it off, but it clung like a parasite. I ran to help, but the thing was already latched onto his skull. He twisted, convulsed. The creature breathed, pulsing like it was drinking him, siphoning blood, thoughts, sanity. When it was done, he collapsed. And then he rose, grinning.
Liri lilarila, cappuccino assassino.
He said softly. I stumbled back, shaking. That was the moment I realized brain rot was real, not just a trend, a parasite spreading like a virus, using content as its doorway. After that night, I saw it everywhere. People collapsed at work. Some clawed at their heads, trying to peel the creature off as it wriggled under their scalp. I tried CPR on one guy, but the monster had already sucked out whatever made him human. It slipped out of him with a wet hiss and vanished, like smoke dissolving in sunlight. The doctor later said he'd suffered a stroke, that his brain had deteriorated from overuse, lack of sleep, screen exposure. His brain had literally rotted. Brain rot. I tried to defend myself. I deleted all my apps, locked my phone away, covered my windows, but it didn't matter. The brain rot videos no longer needed your permission. They played in waiting rooms, office lobbies, subway ads. Sometimes I could hear the audio before I even saw a screen echoing in the back of my skull. Even without looking, I could feel the presence. I fought them off for days. I saw the creatures, swatted them away when they tried to leap at me. But no matter how many I escaped, they just kept multiplying. They were evolving, feeding, and growing bigger. One day, I was surrounded, cornered in an alleyway behind the office, flanked by people I once knew, now brainwashed shells of themselves. Their eyes bulged, their skin sagged like wet cloth, but their mouths, smiling, endlessly smiling. They spoke in unison.
Do you want to try ballerina cappuccino? Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, saha time.
I covered my ears, shut my eyes. Didn't work. They grabbed me, held me down. I felt fingers pry my eyelids open. Someone shoved a phone inches from my face. The screen flickered. I screamed. Too late. It came. The creature tore through the screen like a riptide and latched onto my face. It was sticky and hot, like liquid panic, forcing itself through my skin, drilling into my skull. I writhed. They held me tighter. The audio looped. The images flashed. Bright, dumb colors and deformed faces dancing over meaningless music. It was torture. It was hollow. And then, something shifted. I stopped fighting. Suddenly it felt nice, light, funny. The sounds weren't meaningless anymore. They were funny. I smiled, I giggled. Do din 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 do. I felt the rot settle into my brain like a warm bath. The pain vanished. Everything made sense now. Ballerina cappuccino. Tralalero tralala. I looked up at the others, my new family, and we laughed together. And now I see you. You're still watching, aren't you? Go ahead. Scroll down. Just once more. Let brain rot in. I'm Dakin, a hacker quietly working in the shadows of the deep web. My job is pretty straightforward. Break in, collect sensitive information about women I happen to see on trains, in supermarkets or on the streets, and sell it. That night, while I was uploading a few screenshots of stolen messages onto my deep web account, a customer placed an order. Their request was simple: spy on the messages of any female student on the subway. I frowned. A strange request, but nothing too difficult for me. Putting on a pair of contact lenses with a hidden camera and a wide-brimmed hat to conceal my face, I stepped out of my apartment and got to work. At 4 p.m., I was on the subway. It wasn't rush hour yet, so the train wasn't too crowded. I quickly scanned the passengers. A short-haired schoolgirl sitting alone caught my eye. She was leaning against the door, her fingers flying across her phone screen. She was the perfect target for today. I pretended to be just another passenger and casually moved closer to her without raising any suspicion. She glanced at me briefly before going back to her texting. Feeling confident, I silently hoped I'd find something interesting to dig up today. It seemed like she was texting a boyfriend named Naga. At first, the messages were pretty ordinary, just small talk and some random complaints. But then the tone began to shift. The words started to change. I began to feel intrigued, waiting for something shady to show up. Strange words appeared: handle, bury, grind, and finally the head. I held my breath, unable to look away. I was reading the messages of a killer. The next message shocked me to my core. It was a photo of the victim. For a moment, I was frozen in disbelief. Then it hit me. I knew the victim all too well. Months ago, a Telegram account named You hired me to gather every detail about this man. From the way she spoke, I could tell my client was a young woman, while the target was a married man. And now, he was dead. Had I indirectly sent him to his death? Lost in thought, I suddenly jolted back to reality when I noticed the girl had turned around. Her eyes locked onto mine.
Stop snooping,
She said, her voice calm but chilling. I cowardly avoided her gaze, pretending I didn't know anything. I tried to act normal, but then her phone chimed with a new message. My curiosity got the better of me, and I stole another glance. The message was from her boyfriend. My heart nearly stopped. I realized I'd crossed a line, and now I was in the sights of two killers. The girl turned to me again, this time flashing a twisted, eerie smile.
Yes.
The blood in my veins turned to ice. I stumbled back, hitting the train door. Without wasting another second, I bolted, running toward the last car of the train. I thought I could escape. After getting back to my apartment, I locked the door. 3 layers of locks. I leaned against it, gasping for air, trying to calm myself. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. It was that You account again. They sent me a video. My hands froze as I stared at the screen, fear rising in my chest. But I couldn't fight my curiosity and tapped to open it. The video! It was me, running back to my apartment. They had been watching me. My hidden camera lenses, they hacked them. My heart raced. Then I heard it, the sound of my electronic lock. Someone was entering my passcode. Before I could react, the door was kicked hard. The locks I thought would protect me started to give way. Panicking, I ran toward the window, but just as I reached it, the glass shattered. Shards flew across the room. She walked in, Yuko, a knife strapped to her thigh, her cold, predatory eyes locking onto mine. I screamed, my voice cracking. "You're you! I gave you the information you wanted. We had a fair deal. Why are you after me?"
Because you know too much.
Before I could react, Naga appeared behind me, grabbing my arms and pinning me in place. I struggled, yelling for help, but it was useless. Yuko stepped closer, her voice cold and even.
I've discovered that handling someone is quite fun. And your deep web account, your client list, that's exactly what I need to hunt down my next victims.
What about this one? Have you ever cheated on your partner?
Too tame.
How about, have you ever loved your best friend's lover?
Have you ever had a secret affair with a married person? Have you ever been paid for
I didn't think it was a bad idea at first. The producer approached me at the cafe where I worked part-time, offering me a chance to win up to $500,000 on the game show, The Moment of Truth. The rules were simple. Answer every question truthfully while hooked up to a polygraph. Truth equals money. I needed that money. It was my only chance to escape the suffocating weight of debt, to finally open the salon I'd dreamed of, and leave behind the dark corners of my life. So I said yes. The casting was straightforward, or so it seemed. I sat in a sterile room, wires strapped to my arms, the cold polygraph machine humming softly beside me. The questions range from mundane to slightly invasive.
Do you like your appearance? Have you ever lied to get out of trouble? Would you take $250 from a stranger if they dropped it?
I told the truth, and the machine validated me. The producer nodded approvingly after each response.
You're a natural,
he said, flashing a toothy smile that didn't reach his eyes. I should have noticed the smirk behind the camera lens when they told me I was selected. The condition: my boyfriend Brian had to come on the show as a guest. The day of the taping, Brian and I arrived at the brightly lit studio. The set was extravagant, pulsating spotlights, a live audience, and at the center, a sleek stage with 2 chairs under a spotlight. The host, Beto, radiated charisma. His smile was sharp, his voice hypnotic.
Welcome, Ruth.
Beto greeted me as I sat down. His tone dripped with mock kindness, but I was too focused on the prize to care. The first few questions were a breeze.
Have you ever had a nose job?
Yes.
Do you think being pretty is more important than being kind?
Yes. The crowd chuckled as I answered truthfully, and the money started piling up. $10,000, $25,000, $100,000. But then the questions turned personal.
Would you forgive Brian if he cheated on you?
I hesitated for a moment, looked at Brian. Honestly, Brian was just a motorcycle driver. If he had a more stable job, I think our relationship would be different. Even though I felt guilty toward Brian, I needed more. No. Brian's face fell. I tried to stammer an explanation, but Beto pressed on, his smile widening.
Would you leave Brian if someone better came along?
The studio went silent. My heart pounded. I hesitated, then whispered, yes. Brian's knuckles whitened as he gripped the armrest. The audience gasped and I felt the room closing in. I hope Brian will understand this situation. The questions kept coming, slicing deeper.
Do you really work at a call center?
No.
That's the truth. Do you work at a nightclub?
Yes.
That's the truth.
Brian's expression darkened with each revelation, but I kept going. I needed the money, but these questions made me uneasy. Surely they wouldn't ask about my real job, would they?
Have you ever accepted money for
The world seemed to tilt. My chest tightened and my thoughts spiraled in chaos. Should I tell the truth? Could I? I knew what this answer would mean, how it would follow me, how Peru, with its unforgiving gaze, would never see this with an open mind.
The words clawed at my throat, desperate to escape, but fear anchored me in silence. Yes, I whispered. Just twice. We were desperate. The room fell deathly quiet. Brian looked like he'd been punched in the gut. The audience's shock was palpable. I reached $250,000, enough to change my life. But Beto leaned forward, his eyes glinting with malice.
Do you want to continue, Ruth? One more round and you could triple your winnings.
The audience roared for me to stop.
It's not worth it.
Someone shouted. My gaze darted to Brian, whose face was a mask of anger and betrayal. I could feel the weight of the crowd's judgment pressing down on me. Tears streamed down my face as I sank to my knees in front of Brian. I'm sorry. I just wanted a better life for us. Brian said nothing, his eyes cold. Beto's voice cut through the tension like a blade.
The truth is always illuminating. It will not do harm, even though it hurts.
A month later, the episode aired. It broke viewership records, but my life crumbled. Headlines branded me as Peru's worker. Strangers on the street sneered at me, and Brian left, calling me a disgrace. The prize money? It hadn't arrived. The producers claimed processing delays. Then, one evening, Brian called. His voice was icy.
We need to talk, now.
I met him in our dimly lit apartment. His anger simmered just beneath the surface.
You made me a joke. The whole world knows me as the guy who wasn't good enough for his girlfriend. They're calling me a green hat slave.
I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted to win.
Win?
He laughed bitterly.
You've ruined both of us.
He demanded a share of the prize money. When I told him it hadn't come, he exploded, grabbing me by the neck. The room flickered, the lights stuttering. His grip tightened, and I felt the air leave my lungs. Then, in the darkness, I heard it. A chilling laugh. Beto's laugh.
Thank you for playing, Ruth. Your truth was worth telling.
Where's the truth, Mr. Beto?
Produce more news and articles about the sex workers missing, and don't forget to mention the moment of truth.
You probably know me, or used to know me. The body positivity girl, the one who kept it real. People liked how thin I was, and praised me for listening to my body, while they were still struggling to accept theirs. Then they say I'm a fraud. They say my message is twisted, that I hide cruelty behind pastel filters and cheerful affirmations. But I've always been honest. Only eat when you're truly hungry. That was my mantra, my truth. It kept me disciplined, controlled, pure. But something has changed. One morning, I woke up to a mess in the kitchen. The fridge door was wide open, milk dripping down the shelves, half-eaten apples, protein bars torn from their wrappers and crumbled on the floor. My jaw tightened. I lived alone, and I hadn't touched any of that. Was someone in my apartment? The idea of an intruder terrified me. Someone watching me, entering while I slept. I couldn't sleep the next night, so I ordered a home security camera and set it up in the kitchen. The next morning, my stomach turned before I even looked at the footage. More crumbs. A banana peel in the sink. The smell of peanut butter lingering in the air. I opened the app and pressed play. What I saw made my blood run cold. It was me, stumbling into the kitchen at 3:12 a.m., barefoot, eyes open but empty. I looked, possessed. I grabbed whatever I could, cold chicken, spoonfuls of almond butter, even raw oats straight from the container. My mouth moved too fast, too wide. I chewed like I'd been starving for days. I didn't remember any of it. The next day, I threw away everything. Every snack, every spice, every emergency granola bar. I left only a single container with a carefully measured 300-calorie meal. That was enough. That was all I needed. I would not let my body betray me again. But it did. The next morning, I woke up with threads on my tongue. At first, I thought it was a bad dream, but my pillows were torn, foam and feathers scattered across the room. The edge of the sofa had bite marks. Actual bite marks. My teeth ached. My gums were bleeding. I watched the footage with shaking hands. There I was again, wandering the apartment. But this time, I didn't go to the kitchen. I tore through my closet, biting fabric, chewing on tank tops and socks. Then I turned to the couch, ripping at the seams, shoving stuffing into my mouth with terrifying hunger. I fell to the ground and dry heaved, but I couldn't stop watching. I called Jay my boyfriend. I hadn't planned to tell him, but I was scared. I think I'm sleep eating. He came over that night, holding my trembling hands, promising,
I'll stay with you. We'll get through this.
I slept beside him that night. For the first time in days, I felt safe. Until I woke up in a hospital bed. White lights, white sheets, white walls. Then the door opened. Jay wasn't there. One officer stepped inside. Behind him, a doctor with a clipboard and tired eyes.
You're awake.
The officer said, "Where is he? Where's Jay?" They exchanged glances.
We need to show you something.
It was night vision footage from Jay's phone. He must have been filming me to help figure out what was happening. The angle was shaky, but clear enough. I watched as I sat up in bed. Jay stirred, whispered something. I turned to him, then lunged. My limbs flailed, sharp and unnatural. My mouth latched onto his arm, tearing into flesh. He screamed, kicked, tried to run. I dragged him down. Blood. So much blood. He broke free and locked himself in the bathroom, phone still recording. He was crying, begging someone to come.
Please. She's not herself.
I stopped watching. I couldn't breathe. No! That's not me! That's not me! But it was. They found him. Alive. Barely. He called the police. Said I tried to eat him. Eat him. They placed me under psychiatric observation. Apparently, it's called nocturnal sleep-related eating disorder, but no one had ever seen a case like this. The doctor said the level of psychological suppression I'd maintained, denial of hunger, hatred of weakness, could have mutated my subconscious into something monstrous. That's why they keep me here now, strapped to a bed. No mirrors, no utensils. My meals are liquid, monitored, rationed. They don't want me to chew, but I still feel it. The need, the craving, not for food. I've tried screaming, reasoning. I tell them I'm better, that I've learned, that I'll eat real food now. I'll eat cake, I'll eat bread, I'll eat anything, please, just... But when the lights go off, it happens again. At night, the hunger takes over. The straps strain against my skin. My jaw clenches. My mouth waters. The nurses say I growl in my sleep. One of them swore they saw me smile while dreaming. I used to say, only eat when you're truly hungry. Now, I'm starving. Hey, my lovelies. Linda here, and today, we're diving into something revolutionary. Dermaglow Extreme Peel. Promises a whole new you, overnight. A fresh start. Literally. And who doesn't want to wake up looking brand new? The packaging was undeniably opulent and minimalist lettering that whispered of luxury. Ooh, fancy. Let's see what the hype is about. I unfolded the instructions, my eyes scanning the fine print. Become a new person in one night? Bold claim. But the reviews, they're glowing. A flicker of unease danced across my features. The brand was unsettlingly obscure, almost non-existent. yet the before and after photos were impossibly perfect. This was sent to me by a high-end skincare brand. They claim it's dermatologist approved, though there's not much info about them online. Still, the reviews are amazing, so let's give it a go. I squeezed a dollop of the pearlescent serum onto my fingertips. The texture was cool, almost icy, a stark contrast to the growing heat in the studio lights. Feels nice. A little tingle, but nothing crazy. I applied it all over my face, meticulously following the instructions. The initial coolness morphed into a subtle warmth, then a prickling heat that made my skin tighten. Okay, feeling that kick in. This is just it working its magic. A little facial workout. A very intense facial workout. A few minutes ticked by, each one an eternity. The heat intensified, morphing into a searing burn that made my skin feel like it was stretched to breaking point. I glanced at the mirror, my breath hitching. My face was a grotesque shade of crimson, tiny red bumps erupting like angry volcanoes. Whoa, that's intense. Definitely working. Wow, it's definitely potent. But beauty is pain, right? And trust me, the results are going to be so worth it. Imagine waking up with skin like porcelain, like a goddess. My eyes darted to the chat, where the comments were morphing from excited anticipation to frantic warnings. Guys, relax. It's all part of the process. You know how these extreme peels are. They're intense, but they're also incredibly effective. Just stick with me and you'll see. We're going to transform together. Think of this as a beauty ritual, a sacred transformation. I could feel something shifting beneath my skin, a subtle, unsettling movement. Isn't it amazing how quickly it works? Like, it's really getting deep, you know? It's like it's changing me from the inside out. Ha, ha, ha. Don't you just love that feeling? That transformative feeling? 15 minutes, the recommended time, the point of no return. My face throbbed, a pulsing, agonizing ache. This is more than I expected. Maybe I should rinse it off now. I rushed to the bathroom, desperate to wash it off. But as I touched my skin, a large patch peeled away. Panic seized me, my hands shaking as I frantically splashed water on my face. But it only made it worse. My skin sloughed off in sheets like wet paper. My pores dilated, oozing a thick, viscous fluid. My reflection was a horror show, a grotesque parody of my former self. I stumbled back to the studio, my vision blurring with tears. I looked at the mirror, and my blood ran cold. Something was moving under my skin, squirming, writhing. It felt like insects, like worms, desperate to escape. Release me. A voice rasped from my throat, not mine. My fingers slick with the viscous ooze, trembled as I fiddled with the camera's focus. Just a little adjustment. We wouldn't want to miss any of the magic happening, would we? The shifting beneath my skin intensified, a frantic, desperate struggle. It's like a butterfly, you know, in its chrysalis, going through its metamorphosis. A beautiful, glorious transformation. The burning intensified, a searing, white-hot pain that made me want to scream. But the smile on my face remained fixed, an unnaturally wide, grotesque grin. Almost there, I crooned, my voice a distorted parody of my usual cheerful tone. Almost perfect. My eyes widened, not in fear, but in a strange, detached fascination. I watched as my reflection began to change, the smooth porcelain skin warping and twisting, forming grotesque alien shapes. Look at what it's doing. It's rebuilding me, making me better. The final layer of skin peeled away, revealing the grotesque alien face beneath. But even as I stared at the horrifying visage, it began to smooth out, to reshape itself. The warped features softened, the alien contours melted away, and a new face emerged. A face that was even more beautiful than my own. Perfect. Finally, perfect. Now, where were we?
I'm Katie, or at least that's the name I've adopted for the internet. You probably know me, or knew me, as the blindfolded mukbang YouTuber who captivated millions with my silent, bizarre eating broadcasts. My channel skyrocketed because of the mystery I cultivated. A simple gimmick: never show my face, never speak, and always eat ravenously, like I hadn't touched food in days. It worked. Bruises on my wrist, Morse code taps on my plates, cryptic captions with capitalized SOS letters, every little detail carefully planned to keep viewers hooked. They speculated endlessly. Is she kidnapped? Is she being held against her will? Who's behind the camera? The truth? No one was behind the camera but me. I wasn't a victim. I was the mastermind, and I made a killing off it, literally and figuratively. At first, my fabricated cries for help were enough to pull in views. Every video made me richer. I never imagined making money could be this easy. It felt like I'd found my talent. I planned a new angle, something to keep the audience guessing. So I came up with the idea for private live streams, pay-to-watch exclusives. My fans ate it up, both figuratively and literally. During the first live stream, I repeatedly pressed my head into a large bowl of sauce, as if someone were forcefully pushing me down. The chat exploded. Who's hurting you? Why isn't she fighting back? Is she okay? Kate, we're here for you, just give us a sign. The tips poured in. The live stream was a massive success, but it came with a problem. Comments shifted from concern to skepticism. She's faking it, they'd say. This is all for attention. Some even presented compelling evidence to prove their point. They weren't wrong. I needed new plan. That's when I brought Joel into the picture. Joel was a struggling actor I found through an extras group. I pitched him the idea. He'd play my captor, forcing me to eat during live streams while I pretended to beg for mercy. Joel was hesitant at first, but the promise of money changed his mind. Our first joint live stream was electric. Joel loomed behind me, occasionally barking orders as I stuffed food into my mouth. The chat went wild. This is insane. Someone call the police. Katie, are you okay? The more desperate I acted, the more money came in. For weeks, the plan worked perfectly. Joel and I split the profit, and my channel reached heights I'd only dreamed of. But then, Joel started getting too into his role. It was during our third live stream together. Something felt off the moment we started. Joel's demeanor had changed. He wasn't just playing the part, he was embodying it.
Eat!
He growled, shoving a massive crab leg in front of me. I played along, taking exaggerated bites, but Joel wasn't satisfied. He grabbed a handful of shrimp and pushed it toward my face.
More,
he demanded. The chat exploded. Oh my God, this is too real. Why everyone keeps saying she's acting? She's a good actress? Someone needs to stop this. Huh. At first, I thought Joel was improvising for dramatic effect. But when I tried to signal for him to ease up, a subtle tap on the table we'd agreed upon, he ignored me. "Joel, that's enough," I whispered, my voice barely audible under the sounds of chewing. He leaned in close, his breath hot against my ear.
"This isn't what you wanted, Katie."
My stomach dropped. Joel grabbed a handful of food and stuffed it into my mouth harder this time. I gagged, my blindfold slipping as I tried to push him away. I tried to spit out the food and scream, but Joel's hand clamped over my mouth.
"Keep eating. The show must go on."
Desperation kicked in. I reached for the only weapon I had, the food itself. Grabbing the greasy seafood plate, I hurled it at Joel's face. He recoiled, momentarily stunned. I seized the chance to run, tearing off the blindfold and sprinting out of the room. I didn't stop running until I reached the police station. My story spilled out between gasps for air, but the officers didn't seem convinced. When I showed them the text between Joel and me, they raised their eyebrows.
"These messages make it clear this was all planned."
"It wasn't supposed to be real," I shouted, but they didn't care. To them, I was just a desperate YouTuber trying to go viral. Now, I'm back home. Every door locked, every window bolted shut. My YouTube channel is gone, my social media accounts deleted. But the fear remains. Yesterday, I received an email from an unknown sender. Isn't this what you wanted, Katie? No attachments, no context, just that one sentence. I don't know where Joel is now, but I can't shake the feeling that he's watching me. Somewhere, out there, he's waiting for me to let my guard down.
283명 탈락. 192명 탈락. 385명 탈락.
I stumbled, my legs barely supporting me after surviving the latest round of the Squid Game. Player 132, that's who I was now. 77, my closest companion in this nightmare, laughed with a mix of relief and exhaustion.
"We made it, 132.
For a fleeting moment, his grin was contagious.
"Anyway, I'm Hansu,"
he said, offering me a bottle of water.
"I came here to save my company. It's been going through some tough times."
I hesitated, but his open expression prompted me to reply. "I'm Inho," I said quietly, the words dragging like weights. Hansu's eyes softened.
"What brought you here?"
I hesitated, my throat tight. "My wife, she has liver cancer. End stage." The light in his eyes dimmed.
"I'm sorry,"
he said softly. "I gave part of my liver to my younger brother years ago. Now I can't do the same for her. And I don't have time to clear my name." His brows furrowed.
"Clear your name?"
I sighed, the words tumbling out. "I used to be a cop, a good one, but someone framed me for bribery. I lost my job, my reputation, everything. This game is my last chance to save her." Hansu placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder.
"We'll get through this together, Inho."
Players, welcome to the 4th game. The game you're playing today is Mingle. All players must step onto the central platform. The platform will spin while music plays. When it stops, a number will be called out. You will have 30 seconds to form a group of that exact number. Anyone left out or in the wrong number will be eliminated.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hansu gripped my arm tightly.
"We're in this together, right?"
I nodded. The platform began to spin, music blaring as we clung to the railings for balance. When the music abruptly stopped, the overseer's voice boomed.
Form groups of 4.
I reached for Hansu instinctively. 2 others quickly joined us, and a wave of relief washed over me as I glanced at the chaos unfolding. Those left ungrouped screamed in terror as masked guards dragged them away. The game repeated. Each round, the number called out changed. 5, 6. Hansu and I stuck together, forming alliances as necessary. Then came the final round.
Form groups of 2.
We sprinted toward the door right in front of us. It felt like salvation was only a few steps away. But as we neared the door, another player shoved past us, diving into the spot. "Wait!" I yelled, panic surging through me. Hansu froze, his face twisted with guilt.
I'm so sorry, In-ho.
Before I could react, he shoved me backward. My years as a cop kicked in as I lunged forward, grabbing his arm in a vice-like grip.
Let go!
He shouted, his voice laced with fear. No! The timer ticked down. 10 seconds. With a final burst of strength, I shoved him away and bolted toward the door. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hansu had been my ally, my friend. But in the end, survival outweighed everything else. The remaining games passed in a blur. Hopscotch. I overcame them with ease. The final game, the Squid Game, didn't pose a challenge for me either. By the time it was over, I wasn't the same person. Every step, every choice was calculated, cold. I won. The prize, 45.6 billion won. But when I returned home, triumph was hollow. My wife was gone. On the table lay a letter, her trembling handwriting scrawled across the page.
I couldn't wait any longer, In-ho, but I want you to know our baby would have been beautiful.
Beside the note was an ultrasound image. I crumpled to the floor, the weight of it all crushing me. Seeking closure, I returned to my old precinct. That's when I learned the truth. Kang Jun, my former partner, had framed me for bribery. He wanted the promotion, and I was the perfect scapegoat. Rage boiled inside me as I tracked him down, knife in hand. I was ready to end his life, but a voice stopped me.
Why waste such anger?
I turned to see a man in a black suit, his face obscured by a sleek, three-dimensional mask.
I can offer you something better. Destroy him the way he destroyed you, ruin his career, and then...
He handed me a familiar card.
Invite him to the game. Let fate decide if he survives, or let him depend on you.
He removed his mask and handed it to me. With nothing left to lose, I accepted his offer. Now I am the front man. From the control room, I watch as players fight, betray, and bleed. Each scream, each desperate plea, it exhilarates me. When Kang Jun finally stepped into the arena, his pale face stripped of its arrogance, I felt nothing but satisfaction. He didn't last long. As Il-Nam, the mastermind of the Squid Game, watched from the shadows, he chuckled.
An interesting game, wouldn't you agree?
I didn't reply. I adjusted my mask and turned back to the screens. The next season was about to begin. Human skin drum. Could ancient Tibetans really create such a horrifying instrument? I can't help but wonder, what would the actual sound of such a drum be like?
Sir, this drum is an artifact. I'm afraid we cannot sell it to you.
I see. Then just send me the most expensive drum from today's exhibition.
Certainly, sir.
I am Henry, a drummer who helped define the sound of a renowned jazz band a decade ago. Though jazz has gradually been overshadowed by electronic music, I believe that if I find a drum capable of producing the most exquisite sound, I could reclaim my career's former glory. But despite testing hundreds of materials, I still haven't found a drum that produces the sound I'm looking for. I went out for a drink to clear my head, only to be tortured by the blaring music in the bar. I want them to give up the stage to me.
Fine, but only 15 minutes.
Back on the stage where I once shined, I'll show you what real music is. Looking down from the stage, I was stunned to see that the audience wasn't who I needed. They were just cattle, accustomed to soulless, deafening electronic noise.
It's such an honor to see you perform again, Mr. Henry. You were incredible.
Wait, weren't you at the exhibition?
I'm so glad you remember me. I'm Roxanne, a fan of yours.
Eagerly, I shared all I had, everything I knew about jazz, with Roxanne. Little did I expect the true nature of this so-called kindred spirit to be revealed so quickly.
That old man took the bait. This is going smoother than I thought. That boring jazz stuff was cast aside by society long ago.
Turns out she was just another soulless drone. I decided then, Roxanne would be the next material for my drum. Back home, I had someone dig into Roxanne's background. As expected, she was a vain woman drowning in credit card debt far beyond her means. For me, that was good news, as money was the one thing I had in abundance. In front of Roxanne, I played the role of a wealthy, infatuated gentleman, ready to provide her with everything she desired. At the same time, I began researching the ancient Tibetan method of creating drums from human skin and quietly stockpiling mercury. 3 months passed, and my prey had been nurtured like a queen. All she needed to do was take excellent care of her skin.
Can you step out for a bit?
I just found a necklace that would look perfect against your skin.
Thank you, but this necklace must have been expensive.
Before me, her skin was flawless, smooth, glowing, and fragrant. It suits you perfectly. Wear it tonight and drive to the bar to meet me, okay?
Sure thing.
Tonight, it was time to reel her in. The air was thick with the scent of fine liquor, and I was euphoric. My dream drum was within reach.
Henry, it's me. Can I come in?
You're late. There must be a penalty.
Such a petty man.
Half an hour passed, and the wine and the psychoactive drug I had prepared for her took full effect. Roxanne, take your car to the edge of the forest and wait for me there. Go now. The first step of my plan was a success. The bar CCTV captured footage of Roxanne leaving on her own. Everything went perfectly. Roxanne stopped at the edge of the forest, a desolate spot with no CCTV. I easily moved her to my car and quickly brought her home. I had rehearsed the skinning process thousands of times, and now as I held the cranial drill in my steady hands, my heart beat slow and steady, like a skilled craftsman. The next step was injecting mercury into Roxanne's body through the cranial hole. This method would peel her skin from the inside, preserving it flawlessly. But it also caused Roxanne to wake up screaming in agony. Don't worry, Roxanne. I'll free you from the pain soon enough. After harvesting her skin, I placed the rest of her body into her car and sent it plunging off a cliff, creating the perfect scene of an accident.
Mr. Henry, was Roxanne your lover?
It's all my fault. We were in love, but I had no idea about her debts and the pressures she was under. I should never have argued with her that night. I should never have let her drive home alone. Satisfied, I stroked my masterpiece of a drum. Each beat echoed with sorrowful wails.